Welcome to another lecture on C programming. In the last representation, we have discussed about loop statement, and we saw that there are three loops in C programming: for loop, while loop, and do while loop. In today's lecture, basically we're going to talk about infinite loop and nested loop. So we will see how basically infinite loop works. And now we first understand for loop, do while loop, and a while loop in more depth. So for that, we have to first open a Visual Studio Code. So here I've just open a VS Code. Okay, so I have already created a file name as usual, loop.c. Otherwise you can create from here. So just create a new file and name that. Okay, so now we first write h include studio.h, that is okay, that is our standard input output header file. Okay, so now main function. So okay, we have to write a main function as usual, and now return 0. So it is better to practice. So to understand for loop in depth, we're gonna write some programs in for loop, in do while loop, and using while loop. And also you have to practice with you on them. Okay, the more you struggle, the more you become a better programmer. So you have to create a daily practice, a daily habit of practice programs. And now is this time is very important for you to understand various concepts of C programming. Already you have understand data types, if else statements, that is the conditional statements, now the loop statements. So these statements are very important for your programming skills. If this is your first language, the first programming language, that is it is very important to practice more with looping statement. So now I'm going to just write a program to multiple of 5. Okay, so how can you write a program using a for loop and without using any operators like binary operators, not plus minus, like multiplication or star operators, multiple of 5 up to 100. So that is a program, and we have to write this program using a for loop. And to understand for loop in more depth, first we take a variable int, and this is a num variable where we have to write 100. Okay, so this is a variable num, and now put a semicolon. Okay, so because I have already only taken a one variable, then after just write a for loop, and here this is the block of a for loop. So inside this block you have to write the statements. That statement basically will execute it when this for loop will, okay, the condition is true. And now we have to just write the for loop. The first part of any loop is initialization. So what we will do, we will initialize a variable I. Okay, and we have to write the multiple of 5. So just write here something like if you want to write okay, multiple of 5 up to 100, that is 5, 10, 15, 20, okay, up to 100. So that is the multiple of 5. So how can you print this number using a for loop? That is very important. So first we're going to initialize a value from 5. Why? You want to print a value 5. You don't want to print value 1. So 5. Right here 5. Put a semicolon. The first part is completed. That is the initialization part. Now we will check the condition. The condition is the values should not be greater than 100, because we want in this program we have to print the value from 5 up to 100, that is, and those numbers are the multiple of 5 up to 100. So up to 100 means we have to less than equal to 100, the value of I, and now put a okay, semicolon. And now the second part is completed, that is the condition check, and we have to write here some statement, and after increment decrement. So what is the meaning of basically increment or decrement? So I have mentioned increment operator and decrement operator in the last video. So here increment decrement means an increment statement, or decrement means a decrement statement. That doesn't mean that you only increase value by 1 and you use I plus plus. You can increase that value by 5, by 3, by 4, by 6, and also you can multiply that those value with any numbers. So your statement should be increment or decrements. Just like here, we increase the value of I is equal to I plus 5. That is, we increase the value of I by 5. Okay, so here I just add this number. Okay, then I is equal to I plus 5. Also, you can decrease the value, that is I is equal to I minus 5. So it is basically depends on your requirements. Okay, so which kind of program, which type of program basically you want to write. So that increment or decrement depends on that statement, that is your program statement. Okay, so this is an increment statement. Now we have to write a statement inside a for loop. Okay, so we want to just print the multiple value of 5. So I'm just write this program to understand this for loop in more depth. Okay, nothing else. So send the space, and here you have to write comma and then after the value of I. Okay, now before run this program, we have to first understand how basically this for loop works. Okay, so here first step is we initialize the value of 5 inside the variable I. Okay, so we have already initialized the value of I. Now first part is completed. Now the next step is from here, from initialization, the next step is in this loop it will check the condition. Here the condition is the value of I less than equal to 100. That means value of 5 less than is equal to 100, and that is true. The condition is true here. And like in a if statement, if the condition is true, all the statement inside the if condition, if block will execute it. Same way here the statement inside the for loop will execute it. So here this printf statement will execute it, and it will print the value of I, that is 5. Okay, and now if this statement was executed, then what will happen? Then the next step is it will go for increment or decrement. If the value of I, okay, the previous condition was true, now the value of I will increase by 5, because here the increment statement is I is equal to I plus 5. Now the new value of I is 10, and it again check the condition, and here 10 is less than is equal to 100. That is also correct, that is right, it give you 1, and that means you will enter inside the loop and the statement will executed and 10 will print as it on the output screen. Same way it will again increase the value of I by 5, that is 10 plus 5 means 15, and it will again check the condition and 15 is less than 100, and so on. The value of I will print as it. So in this way, when this condition will false, when the value of I becomes greater than 100, then this statement will say that this loop will ends. Okay, so for that what we will do, so here we can see that the updated value of I. Okay, and here also I want to mention one thing, that is a scope of the variable. Okay, so we will discuss about the scope of the variable in function chapter. So here this I, you can see that this I is declared inside a for loop, that is int I. You can easily declare, that is right, that is not wrong. Okay, And also it's better to practice to declare the variable inside a for loop in this way for initialization, because you don't need to that variable outside the loop, but sometime when it will use this. Okay, so here I'm just gonna write here, I'm just delete this int I. Why? Because I want to show that the value of I will print here. Okay, so before using this variable, we have to declare it here. So I'm just going to declare it here 100 up to 100. Okay, that is I variable, an integer variable. And here I'm just print the value of I. Okay, so here I'm going to write the value of I after loop. Okay, so that is basically the statement. Here I'm just put a backslash, and why? Because in the previous printf there is no backslash n, so I'm gonna just write here, and here I just put a comma and the value I, put a semicolon after printf statement. Why I'm just writing this? To understand, to tell you that what is the value of I when this loop will end. Okay, you can also guess if you understand this concept. Now also the scope of the variable, if we declare the value here int I, that means the life of that variable is from this block to this block. That means we cannot use that variable after this block. That is basically the scope of the variable. Okay, so we have a global variable, local variable. So we will discuss about these things in function chapter in detail. Don't worry about that. So here, just see how basically this loop will end and what is the new value of I. So I am gonna save this C program and run this. Okay, so hope you understand this thing. So here, okay, it was saying that there is somewhere. Okay, sometime it gives a problem like I'm just gonna fix it. So value is I less than equal to 100. Okay, so just save this. So here you can see that 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35 up to 100. Okay, that is the basically value. And now the value will end up to 100. And here the value of I after the loop is 105. Yes, correct. Why? Because when the value of I becomes 105, and that time this loop will end, that is this condition will false. That is the main thing. Okay, so this is all about the for loop, how basically for loop works. And your homework is, guys, you have to do this same program with using do while loop and a while loop. Okay, now also you can print by your own multiple of 3, multiple of 6, multiple of 7, multiple of 20, various numbers. Okay, so this is one kind of program you have learned. And also you can print table 5 multiplied by 1 is equal to 5, as we have discussed in our last representation. Okay, also you can print even numbers, odd numbers. If you add the numbers from 0 to, and every time when you add the value 2, that it will gives you even numbers. Also you can print odd numbers even you add the value 3 without using any mod operator. I will discuss about what is a mod operator, okay, in operator chapter. Don't worry about that. Okay, so this kind of program basically you can do with your own. Also you can write okay, so I'm just gonna write another program and using a while loop to understand more. Okay, so hope you understand these things. So now we have a problem that we have to add a number. Okay, so we have to add a number from 1 to 100, and that one is not given here. Okay, so that 100 value is not given here, so we have to take input from the user up to n. Okay, so that value basically I have taken here n. So we have to print the value up to n, and n is supposed to be 100, 10, 5, 6. Suppose the value of n is 3, that means the value we will add 1 plus 2 plus 3, that is 6. Okay, so same way. So here n is the value basically we want to add. Okay, and now we have to take another variable like I or j, anything, for a while loop, because in while loop there is no any initialization. So we have to first initialize the value, that is I, and we have to start from 1 because we want to add from 1 up to n. Okay, and here I'm just asked to user printf enter, sorry, enter the range. Okay, okay, of n backslash, put a semicolon, and here just take scanf %d ampersand n and put a semicolon. Now we will use a while loop. So what is the condition here? Okay, also you can see that you have to store this value. Suppose you have to store 6. Sometime you have to store up to 4 when you add the number 4. That is 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1. This will give you what? This you 10. Okay, so this is the sum of that number. So where you have to store? So you have to also take another variable, sum is equal to 0. Also you can write here int sum is equal to 0. Okay, and now the condition is that the value of I is less than n. Why? Because you want to add up to n. N should be 5, 6, 7. Okay, and here just write the logic. Okay, logic. So what is the logic of this program? Every time you can see that number added, a next number is added in the previous added number. That is here, suppose 1 and previous value was 0, 0 plus 1 gives you 1, and new value is 2, 2 plus 1 is equal to 3, and so this number has already stored in a variable. Then this value, that is 3, add in that number. So we gonna add 1 plus 2 plus 3 in this way. Okay, so you can see that the previous sum was, suppose it was 6. So for 6, that is the sum of 3 numbers. So what you will do? You just add a new value, that is 4, with previous sum, that is 6, and that is your new sum. So sum is equal to sum plus what? That is I. I is your value. Okay, so you want to add number up to n. Okay, so also you want to consider n also. You want to add with n. Okay, so suppose 100, that means up to 100 with 100. Okay, so here sum is equal to sum plus n. That is correct. And now this is your statement, what you actually want to add or something. And here increment or decrement. So you can see that the value is increased by 1 only. So I'm just going to increase I plus plus. Why? Because the value is only increasing 1. I is equal to I plus 1. And here sum is equal to sum plus I. So there is also a shorthand for writing this sum is equal to sum plus I. How can you write? Sum plus is equal to I. Okay, so it is better to practice in this way. So just write sum plus equal to I. We will discuss in the operator chapter in detail, shorthand. Okay, so this is our program, and also we have to print the value of sum. So you can write here directly sum is equal to percent %d, that is sum. Okay, also you can notice here, suppose this value sum is very large, then how can you store this variable? So you can use here unsign it. If the number is more larger, that is, then you can use long int. Then again, if someone give you a very large number, that is long int, and unsigned long int, though that is the basically the range of a variable you can stored in this sum value. Okay, so here I'm just taking a very short number, so I just use int here. Also you can write here, okay, so for very large number, long int. So that is the thing you can do with your own step, guys. Okay, do with your own. And now, okay, so just delete this. Here also you have to do this program using a for loop and a do while loop by your own. And also here you have to print sum of numbers up to n by, okay, so all even numbers up to n. Okay, so here I'm just gonna add all the numbers 1 to n. So just write in your copy, write a program to add all the even numbers up to n. Okay, same way you can write your program, write all the odd number up to n. Okay, and add all the multiple of 5. Okay, sum all the multiple of 5 up to n. So in this way you can improve your program. Okay, and write those programs with for loop, while loop and do while loop to practice more. Okay, so I'm just gonna save this C program and run this. So enter the range of n. That is, suppose we want to add up to 5. That is 5 plus 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1. That is 15. Okay. Again, someone asks you, okay, enter the range of n. We want to add from up to 100. Okay. So that is 50, 50. Okay, 1 to 100. That is another program. Okay. Now, so you have to practice those program by your own. Okay, if the number is very large, so change the data type. Okay, and you can see your output. Better you practice, you will become a better programmer. Okay, so make a habit of writing programs daily. Okay, so at least you have to write 10 programs daily, then you will learn in C program, because learning a language is not a very difficult thing, guys. Okay, so if you learn one language, you can learn more than one language easily. If you learn C programming, then you can easily learn C++, Java, Python. Okay, so a lot of programming languages. And the thing is that you have to develop a programming skill in yourself. That is a logic development. You can think. Okay, so that basically comes from practice. So do practice with your codes that much possible. Okay, as much possible as you can. And also here we basically discuss about loops. After loop we will discuss about break and continue. Okay, the statement. And after and that we will in this we will talk about go to statement and switch case. Up to switch case, when you understand the concept of how basically these things works, then after you can write various programs. Okay, so from here just practice basic things, write basic things with if statement, else statement. Also sorry guys for battery low is here. We're gonna use a do while loop and write a program. Also we will see how can we use if statement or else statement inside a do while loop. Okay, so here problem is we have to add, okay, all numbers that is multiple of 5. Okay, and also the condition is we have to make a difference of the numbers. First number is we only consider all those numbers that is multiple of 5 and also that is divisible by 3. So here you can see that 15 is a multiple of 5. Also another number is not divisible by 5, 3. Okay, so here 15 is divisible by 3 and 5, 10, 20 is not divisible by 3. So we have to calculate the difference between the sum of these numbers, that is 15 plus 10 plus 5, that is 25, and 25 minus 15 is equal to 10. So we have to print this value, that is 10. So we have two someone, this is someone and someone, if this is sum 2 guys. Okay, and we have to just sum 2 minus sum 1. We have to print this sum. That is the question guys. And in this program we basically use a do while loop. Now also you can practice this program with using for loop and a while loop. So you can see that how many variables basically we needed here. So here another variable is sum. Okay, so now we're gonna first write int n, that is the variable, so up to range, which range you want to calculate. And here also the number should be multiple of 5. Okay, so also we have to write a variable, that is 1. We have to multiply the number with 5. Okay, and here I'm just taking a sum 1 is equal to 0, sum 2 equal to 0 guys, and sum is equal to 0. So these are the variables. So here in this program, just break this complex problem into smaller problem. So first problem is we have to find the multiple of 5. So just write, first take inputs from the user, printf, enter the range. Okay, scanf, %d, here a person, and okay. Now a do while loop. So in a do while loop we have to write here a while statement, and after that put a semicolon. Now what are the variables? Here also you can see that the value of I should be less than equal to n. That is the condition guys. Okay, so up to n. Suppose n is 3, that means 5, 10, 15, that is the value. Okay, now here also we want to check that if the value, that is the multiple of 5 numbers. Okay, so before that we have to, I am gonna to mention an operator, that is a mod operator guys. So what is basically a mod operator? So mod is basically a division operator. Okay, so a mod is basically division operator, mod operator. C program. So mod is a division operator. Okay, so which gives the value reminder. Okay, and the symbol is this percent symbol, that is mod operator. Okay, so this is an arithmetic operator which basically gives the reminder of two numbers. Suppose you write here 6 mod 3, that gives you 0. Okay, so if you write 7 mod 3, that gives you 1. Understand, 1 and 0 are the reminders. Okay, I hope you understand this mod operator. And also we will discuss about all the operators in operator chapter. Okay, so don't worry about that. Now if the number is divisible by 3, that means the mod value will be 0. So we want to check the given value, that is if the value, what value, that is I multiply with 5. Okay, we multiply the value I with 5, and again we mod the value 3. Okay, so just write this thing in bracket. Okay, and if the value mod equal to 0, that means this number, that is the multiple of 5, that is multiple of 5 guys, 5 multiply with 1, 5 multiply with 2, 5 multiply with 3, that if that value is 0, that means this number is divisible by 3. And if that number is divisible by 3, so we have to calculate sum 1. Okay, so sum 1 is equal to sum 1 plus, so you're gonna write here sum 1 is equal to sum 1 plus I star 5 guys. Okay, so else, in the else part, if that number is not divisible by what, 3, then we're gonna add this number in sum 2. So sum 2 is equal to sum 2 plus I star 5. Okay, so these two numbers are added, and now we're going to print. So here the value of sum is equal to sum1. So we're going to print the value that is sum1 minus sum2. We're going to print the number which basically here I'm just going to print 15 minus 10. Why? The number which is not divisible by, the number which is divisible by and the number which is not divisible by. Okay, so here 15. 15 is divisible by. So sum1 minus sum2. Okay, also here you can see that the value I star 5. So every time we multiply the value and add the value. Okay, so that is I star 5 guys. Okay, so here you can write I star 5 into another variable and also just write here. It looks not that much complex. Okay, otherwise you can write in this way also. And here I'm just gonna print percent d sum. Okay, that is the value. And here return 0 guys. Now, okay, hope you understand these things. I'm going to leave this. Now look at this program. Okay, 1 minute. Now look at this program. So here just take a variable n and take input a scanf. Another variable I is equal to 1, that basically comes from 1 to start, that is a divisible by I with 5, that is gives you 5. 5 mod 3 equal to 0, that means the number is divisible by 5, that is 15. Okay, that kind of number. And after that 13, and here sum 2 plus I plus x star 5, that is also multiple of 5, and you just subtract those number and print the value sum. Save this program and run this. So this is going to ask enter the range. So I'm just write here 3. Okay, so here 1 minute guys. I'm not increasing the value of I here. So this basically gives you finite loop. Okay, sorry about that. Again save this C program and run this. So control C. Okay, so here range is 3 and sum is 0. Why the difference is 0? Because here you add 5 plus 10. Again run this C program, and here you can see that if the range is 5, the value is minus 55. Again run this C program. If the range is 4, that is minus 2, 20. Now you can understand how it becomes 20. Okay, so here I'm just write 5, 10, 15 and 20. So basically we're gonna add 20 plus 10 plus 5 and we just subtract 15. Okay, so from 15 we have to subtract this value. So this gives you obviously minus 20. So this is the our program guys. And here you also see that I did not use this statement. Okay, I plus plus increment operator. So for there, so this basically runs because the value of I, here you can see that the value of I is not increasing. That means this condition is always true. If that condition is always true, that means what? That means the statement inside this condition, that is do while loop, is always true. Same for while loop and also for for loop. That means this loop will never terminate, and that is the infinite loop guys. Okay, so let's discuss infinite loop in more detail. So here you can practice this program by your own and also use different loops, for loop and while loops to practice this kind of programs. Also you can practice the sum of a square of numbers, also sum of cube of numbers using for loop guys. And also you can use mod operators. Okay, so now let's see what is basically an infinite loop. So I'm just going to delete this. Okay, so infinite loop. What is the meaning of infinite loop? And do we need an infinite loop in our program? Okay, so here, so if the condition inside the loop, suppose we're going to write a while loop here. If the condition that is always true, if you write a value while 1, that means that value is 1. That means the condition is always true. Okay, infinite loop. Now let's write here some star. Okay, so you're gonna see that basically how it looks like. So this is an infinite loop, guys. Okay, so here the condition that is 1 is always true. Okay, and that means the value is 1, that is always true. That means this statement will execute it. Okay, ever and ever, again and again, sorry, again and again. So this basically is an infinite loop. This loop will never terminate. So I'm just gonna save this C program and run this. Okay, guys, and now look, you can see that the loop will never terminate. Okay, so what we will do, we just control C and it will stop. Okay, so here this is an infinite loop. If you write the like condition like 5 greater than 3, that means this condition is always true. So you can just save this C program and run this. Okay, so here, 1 minute, guys. Sometime basically it gives you an error when you write this way. Okay, so now again run this C program. You can see that this is also an infinite loop. Control C. Okay, so the condition is always true here. So this is basically an infinite loop. Also here, when we write, also you can write it infinite loop inside a uh, for loop. How? Suppose you write here int I is equal to 0 and I is less than 3, I plus plus. Okay, you just increase the value I plus plus, and here also you write I minus minus. That is what? Every time you increase the value and decrease the value. Run this C program. And like printf %d and I. Then run. Okay. So here, so you can see that this is also an infinite loop. So control C. Okay. Okay. So loop will end. So here you can see that we increase the value of I and also same time we decrease the value of I. That means this condition will never, never true. Okay. So this condition will never false. This is always true. So this is an infinite loop base. So here you can write a different kind of infinite loop using a different types of loop. Okay, so by mistake basically we sometime write infinite loop. Okay, so be careful to write the condition inside the loop. If that loop is your while loop or do while loop or any for loop. Okay, that is very important. Now I'm just gonna talk about nested loop. What is the meaning of nested loop? So nested loop meaning is that a loop inside a loop. Okay, nothing but a loop. Suppose someone gonna ask you print a value. Okay, like star star star. Okay, again print star star star. So that is basically the question. Someone gonna ask you print this star 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 and star star star. So how can you print this, that is star 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 5 times. So first thing is that you can write printf inside printf. Just write this statement, and this statement, and this statement. But someone can say that do not use this statement completely. This star inside a printf. Okay, so that what we will do. So we will use here nested loop, that is two loop concept. Okay, so in nested loop you can write a for loop inside a while loop inside a for loop, a do while loop inside a while loop inside a do while loop, that all the combination. Okay, now so when we gonna print this pattern using a for loop, okay, let's see and understand. So here first thing is that first we have to understand nested loops. Okay, so you can write int I is equal to 1, I less than is equal to 5, I plus plus. Okay, so any statement, don't see the condition and statement, guys, what I'm writing here. Okay, so this is basically a loop, some random loops. Okay, and when that loop gonna inside another loop, that basically known as the nested loop. And also when we write this loop inside this loop, that basically also a loop inside a loop. You can write uh, the loop inside another loop as much as you can, but the thing is that this is not very good for memory. Okay, so always practice your program with one loop, or if that program needs two loop, then use two loop, guys, not more than two loop. Okay, that is very important. In the rare case we basically use three loop, otherwise a two loop will basically works for all kind of programs. Okay, so it basically okay, I will discuss about time complexity and space complexity, guys, so don't worry about that also. So it basically increases the time complexity and also increases the space. So here this is a nested loop, a loop inside a for loop, a for loop inside a for loop, guys, as well as you have understand the nested if else. Okay, same way this is a nested for loop. And now the question is arises, we have to print this star. Suppose we wanna print this star using one loop, then how can we print this? Print, okay, star 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 star. Okay, so here first thing is that the value of I is equal to 1. Why? Because this will print at its 5 times, so I less than is equal to 5 times. Okay, so when initial value was 1, then and then condition check, then increment and up to 5 times. Okay, so this will print this value at here star 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 star. Okay, so this is basically using one loop, but we don't need to use this pattern. Okay, that is also not acceptable. Okay, this is not a very good practice to write this program. So we have to use here a two loop, guys, a two loop nested loops. Okay, and here you can see that what is the meaning of first loop. So here the first loop gives basically the number of column. Okay, so that is, sorry, the number of row, that is this is first row, and here this is second row, and this is third row, and this is fourth row. Okay, and just write here. Okay, so this is basically total number of 5 rows here, and here this is column, guys, this is column. So here this is your first column, this is second column, third column, and a fourth column and fifth column. So the first loop will give you guys a row, and the next loop nested loop inside the loop that gives you column, guys. Okay, so if you print anything inside that, that means what? Suppose you print a star here, okay, and give space here. That is how basically this works. Okay, so here the condition is that int I is equal to 1. Okay, so you understand the basic flow structure of a loop. Okay, so for this for loop, the initial loop, this loop is is a statement. Okay, so first thing that here int I is equal to 1. If that condition is true, guys, if that condition is true, that means the loop, okay, that means you enter inside the loop, this the upper for loop, which gives the number of rows, guys. Okay, that means here you again enter and you see that there is also another loop, and first thing is initialization. Again initialize the value I, that is int I. Okay, so I'm just gonna write here j, that is you will not confuse. Okay, and also here you can easily write I, because I have already mentioned about the scope of the variable. Okay, so you again initialize int j is equal to 1, that is another variable j, and check the condition j less than is equal to 5 and increment j plus plus. So this is your another loop. Why? I will talk here later. But understand this loop here. So here initialization part is completed, then it will check the condition, and the condition is j less than is equal to 5. That means this loop will run 5 times. Okay, this inner loop will run 5 times. That means all the statement inside this for loop will execute it 5 times. So if this printf will execute it 5 times, that means this will print this structure, the first row. Okay, the first row. And also, guys, if this loop will execute 5 times, this will print the first row. Okay, you can see that here. Again, if this statement is executed, again this value is increment, that is I plus plus, and 2 less than is equal to 5. That means again this will run 5, this will run, okay, and after a complete run, this will be this, the second row. Okay, same way the value of I increases as I plus plus, that is 3, again a new row, I plus plus 4, again a new row, and 5. Now condition is false. Now this will print a pattern in this way, the star pattern, using a to loop. Okay, and now also we want that all the pattern, that value print in the next line. If we will not write a next line here, that is a printf backslash n. Okay, so just control save and run this program. So this is basically your output, guys. Okay, also suppose someone asks you print here 1 1 1 1. Okay, in this way. Okay, so how can you print? So here someone asks you print 1 1 1 1 1 5 times and print here 6 times. Okay, so here first thing is that you first calculate the number of rows. Here total number of row, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. Here total number of row is 6. So here the first loop will run 6 times. Okay, so we will write here 6, guys. Why? Because the total number of row is 6, and total number of column here is 1 2 3 4 5. That is 5. That is okay. So that is number of column. And now what we have to print? We have to print 1. So we're gonna just change star from 1 Okay, and the same way when loop runs first time, it will print 111, second time 111, and so on. Okay, and just save this program and run this. That is our output, guys. Okay, so this is a basic about a to loop, that is a nested loop. So in upcoming lecture, that is in the next lecture, we will discuss about patterns. Okay, so when you practice patterns, then you can understand how can you use a for loop or while loop. Okay, so that's very important lecture, guys, tomorrow lecture. And after that we will start break statement and continue, and also go to thank you, guys, and thanks for watching. And if you like the video on C programming, guys, then you can do subscribe the channel. Also, if you think a lecture is right for you, then you can share it with your friends. Okay, if it is beneficial for you. And also in our upcoming days, I'm gonna make lecture videos on data structures, algorithms. Okay, so stay connected with us. And this is Atul Kumar signing off. Thank you.